That's how you start a year. All four undefeated fighters lost their roles, big upsets were seen, records were broken, and the future was foreshadowed at UFC 311 in LA. If you missed it, don't worry. Let's recap the whole event in chronological order. I'm the Indian accent guy, and you are on the fight book. Khabib's first fighter on the card, Tagir Ulanbekov, outmuscles Clayton Carpenter to take his O via unanimous decision and kicks off UFC 311. Number 11 ranked flyweight moves up to 5-1 in the UFC, extending his win streak to 3. He shared the DMs between himself and Islam Makhachev backstage with all the food they want to eat after UFC 311. Next, Bernardo Sopai gets his first UFC win in his second octagon fight by handing Ricky Tercios the second straight loss via unanimous decision. And then, plus 455 underdog Moin Gafurov caused the first upset of the night when he got his second straight unanimous decision against Renier Nakamura. Previously undefeated Nakamura was one of the prospects I was incredibly high on, and Gafurov handled him with ease. He moves up to 2-2 while Nakamura moves down to 3-1 in the UFC. Then number 13 ranked bantamweight Alan Perez ends early prelims with another unanimous decision over number 9 ranked Carol Rosa, extending her win streak to 5. John Anik announced by a broadcast Carol Rosa was supposed to main event Mayra Bueno Silva in November last year, but fight got moved and then never happened. Thank God. I would have actually crashed out if that was a main event. In the post-fight interview, Alan Perez accuses their champ Juliana Pena of being scared of Kayla Harrison and calls for an interim title fight against Harrison. Grant Dawson then starts the preliminary card, getting another smothering victory and defeating Diego Ferreira via unanimous decision. He extends his win streak to 3, ending Ferreira's 2-fight win streak. Dawson lost only 1 out of his 13 UFC fights. After Kevin Holland and Brendan Allen, Grant Dawson is the third Dana White Contender Series veteran to get more than 10 victories in the UFC. He calls out Beneil Dariush in his post-fight interview to fight in UFC 314 in Miami in April. And then after 5 fights, we got our first finish of the night. Number 13 ranked light heavyweight Bogdan Guskov submits short notice replacement in Billy Alicana in round 2 to extend his win streak to 3. 17 wins, 17th finish, and 100% finish rate is intact. For whatever reason, UFC took its time bringing Azamat Bekoev into the promotion, but he is here now with a great effing debut. Bekoev with heavy ground and pound gets a huge knockout in round 1 in his short notice debut. Bekoev, who has extended his win streak to 7, says after his win that he would also like to return at UFC 314 in Miami. His opponent Zachary Rees responds to his knockout loss and claims his team will appeal the fight because he was hit multiple times on the back of the head. Although Talbot Frodchek was not on the agenda at UFC 311, the veteran plays spoiler to close out the prelims. Plus 675 underdog Rahoni Barcelos 30-27 Peyton Talbot in the prelims headliner, ending another undefeated run in Inglewood. It was one of the biggest betting upsets of all time as Talbot was over minus 1600 favorite. Barcelos gets back-to-back wins for the first time in almost 5 years. On the other hand, Talbot's 3-fight win streak in the UFC is broken. Renier declines the no early takedown request from Kevin Holland and makes quick work of Kevin Holland amidst the "Let's go Holland" chants. He had revealed that UFC had offered him Holland because a top 15 fighter ducked him. So after earning a first round submission, he now wants directly a top 5 opponent next. Holland, by the way, has lost 4 of his last 5 fights in the UFC, and moving up back to the middleweight proved to be a very bad decision for him. Next fight also ended in the first round finish when number 6 ranked heavyweight Jailton Almeida makes it look easy and TKO'd number 7 ranked Sergey Spivak. With back-to-back wins and a 50,000 bonus check, he improves to 8-1 in the UFC and calls out number 2 ranked Cyril Gane. In the featured pay-per-view bout, we witnessed a war between top 3 light heavyweights Jiri Prohaska and Jamahal Hill. Prohaska knocks Hill down in the first to get the round and Hill comes back in the second strong. Then in the third round, Prohaska finally found the TKO and called out Alex Pereira right after his win. Pereira was impressed with Jiri's performance and backstage while getting stared by Jiri, he said he would give him another opportunity after beating Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 313. Alex Pereira's coach Pelinho Cruz then congratulates Jiri following his win and then Jamahal Hill also encounters in a respectful way. Jiri in his post-fight interview gives himself a C, no, a B-, no actually C for his performance and also reacts to the broadcast team criticizing him for keeping his hands down.
Fuck them, I worked on that.
In the co-main event, we witnessed Merab's unlimited gas tank glitch against Umar Nurmagomedov. One thing about the machine is that he's gonna keep shooting. He gives Umar his first loss via unanimous decision in Fight of the Night comeback win and passes GSP for most takedowns in the UFC history. Taunting Nurmagomedov for not being able to get a takedown is insane. And how this is a real photo? Anyway, Merab in his post-fight interview revealed that he had a bad back injury in training camp and he could barely stand some days. He also shows off the injuries he was dealing with heading into the UFC 311. Dana White was also impressed with Merab and says that Merab put on an incredible performance tonight. He was surprised that Merab was a bit cautious in the 5th round because it looked like he was going to start to run through Umar with how fresh he was. White says that he and Merab Dvalishvili had a goofy relationship but he doesn't dislike him. Anyway, Umar Nurmagomedov says he broke his hand in the first round of the fight. His manager Ali Abdulaziz also shared a picture of Umar's broken hand, but it is what it is. The UFC is still the ultimate proving ground as Magomed Ghaziasulov, Austin Bashi, Clayton Carpenter, Rinya Nakamura, Peyton Talbot and Umar Nurmagomedov have all lost their undefeated records in 2025. Finally, Islam Makhachev closes the show by submitting Renato Moicano in the first round. He now solely holds the record for the most successful title defenses at UFC lightweight division. The record was previously tied between him, Khabib, Penn, Edgar and Henderson. People may diminish that win for Islam, but he fought a dangerous opponent who had a full fight camp and dispatched him in the first round. Best pound-for-pound fighter in the world for a reason. Islam, while on his way to the media, says someone was lucky he wasn't here, referring to Arman Tsarukyan who pulled out on last day. During his interview, he said he's not gonna leave the sport without the second belt and can even beat DDP to become the 3-division champion. He admits Alex Pereira is too much when he heard his manager Ali Abdulaziz has claimed he can beat Pereira as well. By the way, after Islam's incredible performance, Dana White finally names Islam as his new pound-for-pound number 1. Jon Jones moved down to his number 2. White says that Makhachev is 100% the best lightweight to ever do it in the UFC. While talking about Arman Tsarukyan's situation, White says that Arman needs to go back to the drawing board after withdrawing from the fight and he will have to take another fight first after coming back from injury. He won't get the straight title shot upon his return. Arman Tsarukyan didn't take time to respond and says he is ready to prove he is the rightful number 1 contender against anybody. He called out Charles Oliveira for a 5-rounder rematch and rejected Chandler's call out. Oliveira, who was at the cage side, says he is next for Islam Makhachev. Ilia Topuria also calls out the lightweight champion, but as per Dana White, we can't say who is next for Islam Makhachev. Who do you think is next for Islam? Winner of Bilal vs. Shavkat, Charles Oliveira or Ilia Topuria? Do share your thoughts and thanks for watching the video till the end. Now do whatever you want to do.